I'm doing a pretty deep dive on as many Ravens formations, offensive formations as possible. And for some of the people who criticize Greg Roman or defend Greg Roman, trying to give ammunition and evidence for both sides. This one's going to look pretty bad for Greg Roman in terms of being predictable. So what I'm going to talk about first this morning is a formation that I call Ram or Lion. So Ram or Lion is what I would use to designate a pistol with a fullback to the right and a tailback, behind the quarterback. So a typical pistol alignment, except now you have this fullback over here to the right. Lion would be the same exact formation except mirrored. So the fullback on the quarterback, in this case Lamar's left. So one of the things I found, and I'm going to go through the data first, and I'll kind of reflect back on it a couple of times. One of the things that I've found with this formation is it's extremely predictable in terms of run pass. Kind of makes sense, right? You've got Ricard on the field as a fullback, and the picture that I showed you guys first, this play here is 22 personnel. So you've got two tight ends, or excuse me, you got two running backs with Tyson Williams and Ricard, and then you got two tight ends down here to the right. Looks like it might actually be an extra lineman, but in any case, not all iterations of this formation that I'm going to show you today have two linemen. This first one that I am showing you happens to do so. So they're sorted by run pass. The one all the way at the top, this is play number 12, down distance, 22 personnel. I have it labeled 22 because I was treating LIONE, who I think is that extra tackle there. I was treating him like an eligible receiver, which I'm quite sure he would have had to report as eligible. Otherwise, it would have been illegal formation in the NFL. But you can see the first 17 here are run. Now, these are not in chronological order in terms of how they happened in the season. In my Excel file that I utilized, I sorted them by run. So you see the first 17 plays are run, and I'm going to go through some of them. I'm not going to go through every one. I don't think anyone wants to sit here, well, maybe you do, and watch 17 run plays out of Ram or Lion. Now, you can see from the formations column, which is the fifth column from the left, it just says form. That is the actual formation. So like wing Ram, the one that I'm showing you first here, I designate a wing as a tight end who's on the line, and then a second tight end, this guy here, Tomlinson, who's off the line. Okay, so that's what I call a wing. Typically in high school and youth, you'd have a tight end and then a running back type as that guy outside the tight end. In this case, we've got an extra lineman and then a tight end on the outside. But in any case, let's get back to the data. The data is not going to all be from the same formation. It's going to be from the same backfield formation. So my point here with this, I know we're 3 minutes in, is as a defense in the NFL, when you can identify formations and identify backfield sets, that gives you information right there. And one of the things that I suspect people did, and I know they did, when we had this Ram or Lion backfield set, and they generally followed Ricard. Ricard generally took you to the football. Now, our stretch play, we do go opposite with the fullback, but you can see from the fourth column from the right where it says concept, we're not utilizing the stretch concept a ton. I think you've got it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in this data set. So 21 plays out of Ram or Lion, and you've got stretch, 25% of the time approximately. So that's it's a pretty big number. But the run pass tendency or pattern is what I'm trying to mention here and make note of. If you or anyone else, has anything else, any other element you want to make note of from this data set, by all means, go right ahead. I'll try to attach it, put it in the description of the YouTube video that I'm uploading today. What I would like to do is show you some of the plays and then get near the end and show you some of the pass plays. So the bottom 4 on your screen right now are the pass plays. I'm not really concerned about the formation, but look at the down and distance that you're getting this formation. You see a lot of 1st and 10s, obviously. You see a lot of 2nd and short or 2nd and medium. So there's a 2nd and 5, a 2nd and 6, a 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, and 2nd and 6. There's some 1st and goals in there. So my point is, as a defensive player in the NFL, you have all week to study things, and they do. They study it intently, 1,000 times more, in detailed fashion than I do. Here, this is a very surface level. But the point is, these guys would be able to, as an inside backer or D end or outside linebacker or edge player, you'd be able to see the formation and go, okay, in your brain, in the 3 to 5 seconds before the football is snapped or whatever the time period is, you would be able to say, hey, I know what's coming here, or I have a pretty good chance of knowing what's coming, and let me go ahead and sell out to stop the run here. Play the run. You're not going to pass rush if you're an edge defender if you get a Ram or Lion set from the Ravens, because the Ravens are telling you what's probably coming. 17 out of 21. What is that, 83%? Somebody check my math, maybe 84. So in any case, that's where I'm getting the data from. I'm actually inputting the plays and all of this information into Excel, and then utilizing that to make inferences, hopefully. And I'm going to try to do this during the season as well. So we'll get to some of the plays, and we're going to start. It's going to go in order that you see up top here. So we should get power, counter, op. So over to the right, the fourth column from the right says concept. We should get power, counter, option, power, option, right, which I think is a play against the Chiefs. So this data is primarily from the first 6 weeks of the season. I'm just showing you what the data looks like, and then we'll get to the plays. So hopefully you guys understand the point that I'm trying to make, have the ability to tell her straight, but I'm primarily just going to let these plays run. You can see Tyree Phillips is at left guard here. He's pulling on the power play. A pretty effective play to start for the Ravens. The Raiders did a nice job, obviously, defending the Ravens in that game, I thought anyway. You get the end zone angle as well. You see they got their 4-3 alignment, but the will is kicked over here. The Mike is kicked over in a 30. So he's stacked over this 3 technique. And then KJ Wright, the Sam, who's still a pretty good football player, is out here in a 90, lined up, as in between these 2 tight ends here in terms of the gap that he's lined up in. Inside linebackers did a nice job for the Raiders all game in week 1. Couple of more plays against the Raiders, if my internet will comply. So this time is spread Ram. So what I mean by when I say spread is spread here is 3 receivers, so it's out of 20 personnel this time. Okay, you guys hopefully can see up there. Hopefully I don't have my screen cut off. It's 20 personnel, so there's no tight end on the field. It's just Ricard. Every time that Ricard was on the field with 3 receivers wasn't this formation. But point is, if the coaches on the sideline are yelling 20, or some teams even hold up a placard or a poster that says 20, so it tells the defensive players, what what personnel grouping is on the field, so they know. And again, Ricard takes you to the football. This is an option left play. Looks like Crosby gives a downhill read to Lamar, and then comes back upfield. So Lamar's a little unsure what to do because Crosby's trying to play games with him. He knows he's opposite Ricard, so he knows he's read man. You guys see what I mean by what Crosby did? First of all, he's a real good football player. So the way he takes off in the beginning should be a keep, but then once Crosby identifies that he's a read man, he runs back up at Lamar, and Lamar tries to keep it. It's a tough play. That's one of the deficiencies of the option, is that you fumble a lot. So a heavy version of Lion. So Lion, here's Ricard on the left. Me personally, heavy for my defensive players, we always would just let them know that heavy means there's 2 tight ends, one on the right and one on the left. Some people call it different things. Heavy for us was just a word that we didn't use offensive terminology-wise, but we only use defensive terminology to let the kids know that you have a tight end on the right and a tight end on the left. So if we had an auto check for heavy, then we could get into that check. But in any case, it's Lion with Ricard on the left out of 22 personnel, and it's power. No surprise, right? Let's get you the end zone angle so you can see it. It's a wind back power play where Lamar is opening, Lamar is stepping back off the midline, and Williams is able to take the midline and then wind it back. Our wind back plays out of pistol were effective, if you ask me, because they go opposite of the direction that Lamar opens. But the problem is you still have this tendency to run behind Ricard, and that's why counter option works so great when Ricard steps in the direction that Lamar opens, and then the guard and tackle in the direction Lamar opens pull opposite. So there's our first 3 plays. Here's the option right play. 16-yard gain by Tyson Williams against the Raiders. So it looks like these are in chronological order. I was wrong earlier. These appear to be in chronological order by the season, weeks 1 through 6. If you're going to complain about me not having the entire season in the database, hey, look, it takes a long time to get these in there. So complain away if you wish to. Had someone send me a message on Twitter, said, like, why are you showing plays from weeks 1 through 4? Well, that was this past season, and we haven't had the 2022 season yet. It's 200 days away, so I'm not sure what you want me to show. But in any case, it looks like you're getting them in chronological order. An option play where he's reading Yannick Ngakoue, apparently to me, and Ngakoue steps down, but not abruptly enough to be able to get involved in the play. Tyson Williams cuts it back. Let's get forward and get to some of the stretch plays where Ricard goes opposite. Another spread iteration of it. When I got the data there, spread. You got 3 receivers, what looks like Duvernay, Watkins, and Brown in week 1. So if this is going to be stretch, then Ricard normally would go opposite, but he's lined up to the left here, so I'm interested to see what he does. I don't recall this one. He goes to the play. Typically when we run stretch, let's get the end zone angle. Typically when we run stretch to the right, the fullback or the tight end, it could be Ricard, it could be Andrews, is going opposite. And actually what I just drew up is not exactly how the Ravens draw it. The tackle normally steps back to the D end over there, and then the fullback on the right normally cuts this 3 technique D tackle. But in this case, they have him lined up opposite, and they're getting him to the play. It's only like a 3-yard gain. Again, the Raiders did a pretty good job, I thought, against our run concepts that didn't involve Lamar in week 1. I think we had 180 on the ground, and Lamar had like 65 of it, something like that. Another option play to the right, same as the one I showed you 2 plays ago. Ricard, again, is opposite. This is wing. It's two actual tight ends here. It's not an additional lineman and then a tight end. So this is wing, lion. Wing meaning, tight end wing, and then lion meaning the fullback to the left. Some people would use ram to the strong side and lion to the weak side. We always did, ram right, lion left. Everything we did was phonetic. So we're reading Ngakoue. He probably knows what's coming. He's getting some kind of communication here from KJ Wright. Probably knows that he's either going to be the read man or he's going to be getting double-teamed and trying to run power off tackle. Another option play against the Chiefs. Now, what's the larger point here? We're 12 minutes in. The larger point, I made this in 2 other videos already in the last 3 or 4 days, is you can run predictable things in the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, but as data accumulates and people begin to notice the data and be able to do things about it, you will be less successful with those predictable formations and situations because people are more prepared for it. Week 1 and week 2, people haven't seen it enough. Think about the Ravens in 2019 when they dropped that, dynamic run offense on the league. It took the league a long time to adjust. Now, I'm not saying that they totally stopped the Ravens because the Ravens set an NFL record for rushing yards, so the league didn't adjust quick enough. But point is, as you put more plays out there on film, you will get defenses that are more prepared to stop you. The typical power play, you're getting Ricard kicking out the edge rusher. You get the guard pulling and wrapping for somebody on the second level, usually a linebacker. I think Murray bounces this one. He's one-on-one with Surtain. Gets like a 6-yard gain. Another stretch play. Ricard is backside again. So what I said a couple of moments ago is kind of inaccurate so far, at least in this video. He's going to the play on this stretch. We typically cut backside. Week 5. Against the Colts, an ISO play, which looks like it's to the left here. And it looks like we got the same thing. A 6th offensive lineman along with Tomlinson. So you can see it's the same formations early in the season and a very heavy tendency towards run plays. NFL defenses are going to identify that. And of course with Ricard on the field, we were more run heavy anyway, so there was a tendency there. But I'm telling you that formations is where it's at in terms of defenses identifying things. If you remember back when Ray played for the Ravens, many times pre-snap, him and Terrell Suggs and Ed Reed and other guys are communicating things. It's because they saw something in the formation. Formation means how the offense was lined up, in what way they were aligned. and that gives you some information about the play that's coming. This is slot ram. Really, it's spread. I have this kind of mislabeled. It should be labeled spread. You got 3 receivers. The reason why I called it slot is because we don't have an actual fullback on the field. We got a tight end in Mark Andrews. And it's a failed option play. Don't ask me why we're running option plays down at the goal line. I don't know why you make the quarterback make a decision. He opens this way. Freeman comes downhill. They're reading this D end right here, and Andrews is going to read him and then go outside. I think Andrews is reading this as a keep read for Lamar. And the DN does the same thing that Crosby did. I think he's going to go downhill, like he's going to take the dive and then run right at Lamar. So he's giving Lamar a difficult read, not difficult read. He's trying to make it difficult on Lamar by stepping downhill initially, making Lamar think, oh, I should give this football, and then running at the quarterback. Lamar's face mask didn't really look like he was reading him initially. Now he is. He's catching him. He's catching him now, obviously. So at this point, it looks like it should be a keep read. A keep read, and then the DN runs upfield at Lamar. So again, when you're predictable, the DN can say to himself, okay, if I'm unblocked, I'm going to do this. That's drawn too abruptly. Sorry. But you can only do that when you're predictable, meaning if the offense is predictable, he knows there's a pretty good chance if I'm unblocked, I am the read man. So he's not looking at Lamar to see if Lamar opens to him. The defensive ends don't do that. D linemen don't read the fucking quarterback. D linemen read the block of the guy in front of them. So he knows it's a pretty good chance it's a run play because of this backfield set, which I call ram in this case. The defense may call it lion because it's to their left. They may call it whatever they want is in their system. Point being, you're allowing the defense to play faster, to play better by being more predictable. So here's another stretch play. This is week 6. Now the back is on the right. The fullback's on the right. I think he goes opposite here, like I talked about earlier. Who knows? I might be wrong again. No, he goes to the play. And this is the one that Freeman bounces outside for a big gain. Nice run. We did a decent job here with Derwin James on the edge. And then I think Ricard tries to help out a little bit with him. See, Ricard ends up punching him while he's being engaged. That's always difficult to do as a defender. Oliver and James is the matchup here. And then Ricard's going to punch him as he's engaging Oliver. There's no way to stay on balance when you're already engaging an NFL tight end, and then a second really big, strong guy on the move punches you. You're gonna make that edge softer. All right, let me get to the pass plays. We're almost 20 minutes here. All right, 4 pass plays at the end. Not exactly. I call this slot because we've got a tighter guy inside. And it's a little different from the slot that I showed you against the Colts on the goal line, where Andrews was back here in the backfield with 3 receivers. In any case, it's a pass play in the middle of the field against this inverted cover 2 where the Broncos are dropping down their safeties. They're dropping down their safeties on the hash to take away the over concept by Andrews. And we get the skinny post in between them. It's a great throw by Lamar, as you'll see from the end zone angle. I would have liked to have seen more under center stuff this year. I know a lot of you guys would too. Little play action. He's ready to throw the football. A little narrow with his feet, but some people like that. Some people coach that. So here he is. Boom. You got those are the 2 safeties here and here. Those are the 2 safeties who have dropped down, and he fits the ball right in this open window over the linebacker and in between the safeties. I think it's a hell of a throw. I mean, from the all-22, it looks wide open, right? You got all this space here, but that's the NFL. That's the NFL, meaning even when it is wide open from from the other angle you look and it was not. Now we're not at a low angle, we're at a high angle, but clearly this guy's in the window, and Lamar has to throw it over the top of him and then drop it down into the receiver. Great throw, if you ask me. That's one pass play out of Ram. Here's another one out of the pistol. I think this tight end's going to go out in the flats, and Prochet is going to run the little snag concept, and I think he's just a rub concept. He's just trying to pick the guy who would run with the tight end, or run with the fullback, excuse me, I had that backwards. Fullback runs out in the flats, and he tries to pick or rub the edge defender so that we can throw it to Ricard. Lamar chooses not to throw it to him. Lamar actually ends up hitting Prochet, who comes open after the edge player runs outside of him. Slant to Duvernay down in the goal line versus a backup DB. They had taken Surtain off at this point because the Ravens have been shredding him out of pistol 20 personnel. So there's no tight end on the field, just Ricard and 3 running backs. So, of course, all pass plays out of this formation are going to include play action because we're so run-heavy based, you know. Makes sense. First and goal, good call. I get it. My contention is just the balance was just too heavily weighted towards run. If you ask me, I don't think that any formation should be more than like 60, maybe 63% biased in one direction in terms of run pass. That's just me. Some of you guys have a different background and different experience to me, so you may have a different opinion, you know, and that's cool. So here's an out, which I think is Duvernay against the Colts. Down here, no play action fake, just immediately throws it out to Duvernay. Think we get one more. Nope, last one. All right, so anyway, you guys saw how heavily weighted we were out of Ram and Lion towards the run. And I think that makes you less effective as the season goes on. As I mentioned in another video, I think that could be an element, one of the elements, as to why the offense became less and less predictable during the season. Additionally, that could explain the pattern or progression or regression that Greg Roman's offenses have apparently had in other stops. San Francisco, Buffalo, meaning really, really good, maybe their first year, second year, but then as time goes on, there is a regression in terms of yards per play and efficiency because there are certain formations that he uses repeatedly, and those formations give the defense information. They give them intel. Like Skeptic Goat said to me one time on Twitter, he said, you reveal your intentions before the snap. If you reveal your intentions before the snap against high-level defenders, which the NFL has, every team has multiple high-level defenders, you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. Maybe that explains why, as the season went on, the offense got less and less effective. Of course, there was other reasons too. Lamar being injured, play calling being different, additionally, but that's a topic for another video. Let me know what you guys think of the video. If you enjoy seeing stuff broken down by formations, I am a formation person as a coach. Always have been. Always, that's how I was taught, and I believe that formations, well, to use Skeptic Goat's quote again, formations reveal your intention pre-snap. Especially when you are this heavily weighted towards the run, as the Ravens were in any formation with a Ram or Lion backfield. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments section. If you'd like to see me continue these videos on formations in the same manner, or maybe move in another direction with these types of videos. I know I didn't break down a lot of technique here, but my point here overall was to try to show you the tendencies and then let you make your own conclusions from it. Appreciate you guys' time.